Now, it's time for us to move on in math. And I want to show you this directly because I love teaching. And some people think math is hard. And I'm here to tell you it's not really hard, but it's tricky. And if you have good tricks, you won't have any trouble. So I want to show you a couple of tricks. So boys and girls, today you need to have some kind of little device. Again, this magic marker, a business card from mom or dad, the edge of a library card or a credit card, just some little rectangle like this that might help you with your math. And I'll show you how. Okay? Now, what we know already, let's get rid of all of this messy printing, shall we? Let's review what we've learned before. In representing numbers, representing means showing numbers. We get that. We have the numeral, the actual number itself. We get that. We also know that we can spell out numerals. Good. We remember tallies. We're not using them too much right now, but it's a good way to remember that there are other ways of representing numbers. We got really good at 10 frames, and Ms. Hogan said you got really good at 10 frames too. Rods and cubes. Now, I think you've probably had enough of those and we're ready to move on. We moved on to naming so that we could identify the rods we're all representing, tens, and the cubes or the dots were always representing the ones. That's where it starts to get important. Boys and girls, this is called place value. And today we're going to learn to add using place value. I'll stick that up there in case we need to refer to it. So when you think of place value, you need to know the place of the number to know its value. Okay? So this is a 2. Of course it is. Unless, and that means 2 ones. Unless I put a 3 beside it, now I know that this is 2 tens and 3 ones. I could think of it like a 20, 2 tens, and 3 ones. That would be another thing on this list called expanded form. We could do that. But if we know that it matters that the 2 is here and the 3 is there, and it makes a completely different number, if we switch them, 3 tens and 2 ones, that's a completely different number. It has a different value. I would way rather have $32 in my bank account and let you have $23 in your bank account, but you probably want $32 and leave 23 to me, because we understand value. Whatever is in the greater column makes it greater value. So now, I just changed everything. This is no longer a 2. It's no longer even a 32 because I've added another place value. And of course, you know it's called hundreds, right? So 132 is a way better bank account than 32, isn't it? And 123 is a way better number than 32 if we're talking about bank accounts, because now we've even got hundreds. As soon as there's a digit, a number in that place, it's worth more. And numbers get bigger to the left. We can do big, 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 big numbers. And it doesn't matter. As long as you know what its place is worth. What its place value is. Okay? So today, we're going to look at grade 1s and 2s. We're going to look at adding numbers using place value instead of using rods and cubes or using naming. We're going to add numbers using place value. And then grade 2s, I've got an extra one for you because we've got to get you regrouping. It's May already. Grade 1s and 2s, place value. Let's have a look. If I stack my numbers like we did in our naming activity, remember I said to stack them like this, 1 10 and 4 10s. Equals 5 10s. And then I also had you stacking your 1s. 5 1s plus 3 1s equals 5 plus 3, 8 1s. So really we added 1 10 and 5 1s, that's 15, plus 4 10s and 3 1s equals, because that's my equal sign when I'm adding up and down. Now what I need you to do is take your little blocker, your little credit card, your little business card, your finger, doesn't matter, and I want you to block the tens column. Just block it up and down. We know that if we block it in the right position, we're going to use the ones column first. Always, 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 for the rest of your life, start at the ones column for this method of adding. Okay? So when I cover up the rest, because I don't want to get stressed with too many numbers, I'm just going to add my ones column. I start at the top. 5 plus 3 equals 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. Now I'm done with the ones column. It's only got a parking spot for 1 digit, right? Remember parking, that's important. So now I'm going to move my Mr. Place value back, and I'm going to say, oh, in the tens column, I'm going to look at the top, and I'm going to add 1 plus 4, and I get a 5 in the tens column. So 5 tens plus 8 ones is 58. Check, check. We just added 2-digit numbers. Well, now you're going to be able to add 2-digit numbers like this. It's kind of a shortcut because you understand about tens and ones. You understand that the place it's in determines its value. And I've talked a lot about parking with 10 frames, and now I'm going to come back to it. The stacking is really, really important. Watch this. If you write it this way, that looks like it should work, right? But you've got trouble. You've got big trouble. Sirens. Because when you use your little card, your little blocker, I'll call it Mr. Place Value, and we're going to make one time. I'm going to cover everything up with the ones column. I've got 5 plus nothing. Nothing. That means 0. So 5 plus 0 is 5. Zoop. Go back 1 column. Go to the tens column. 1 plus 3 is 4. And now it looks like I've got something in the hundreds column to add on. So, okay, 15 plus 43 is 445. Uh-oh, that doesn't sound reasonable. I can't have 400 anything if I'm less than 20 and less than 50. Having 400 is not reasonable. And boys and girls, there's nothing wrong with the adding. This is a parking problem. Let me show you. This spot should not be empty. It would have a 0 in it. That would be okay, but it can never be empty. If it's empty, that means that you have to add sideways to actually get 58. And of course, I don't usually use X's. I'll be circling this to say, yikes, yikes, try that again. So please be very, very careful with your stacking. Now today, I've prepared a practice sheet for you and everything's already stacked up. So if your parents can print the picture, that's fine. But if you're copying the numbers, the stacking is so important. It's important enough that I would, in the class, I would make you start those ones over. So please pay attention to parking. Every single question I'm giving you today is 2 digits stacked up. 17 plus 12 equals. Notice the plus sign is off to the side of the bottom number. Off to the side of the bottom number. The equals line is directly on the line. It's not way down here somewhere like that. That would not be acceptable. Okay, so if you're printing it for yourself, just make sure that you're printing them perfectly stacked, all of your ones on top of all of your tens, so that you can actually add them down. 7 plus 2, 7, 8, 9. That's 9. That's 1 parking spot, so that's good. And up to the next column, 1 plus 1 is 2, 29. So here is what your practice sheet for this week will look like. I've put all your practice on one page. Woo, and it all comes down. That's okay. All right, so you're going to see a picture of this for your homework this week, grade 1s and 2s. And always start with the 1s column. Keep them stacked nice and straight. I put a couple of lines there just to get you started. Please don't use lines. Use your little blocker to line them up. Okay, they should look like this. Don't add your own lines if you can help it. Okay, always start with the 1s and then go next door to the 10s. Always start with the 1s and then go to the 10s. 1s is a lower value. You need to start there, and when it gets trickier, you'll see why. Okay, so grade 1s and 2s, please do adding practice number 1. That's this whole row, and ooh, I squeezed in an extra tricky one. Sometimes there's a 0, and that's okay. You still add that. 0 plus 0 is 0, so put your 0 there. And I added a little taste of a hundreds column for you. That's your tricky alert for grade 1 and 2 on adding without regrouping. Practice round number 2. Same idea. If there's an empty spot and you're confused, like 43 plus 6, you can imagine a pretend 0. Tricky alert. Just imagine a 0 where there is no number. So 43 plus 6, you imagine 06. That's not 60, that's just 6. The 0 is a placeholder. Same 18 plus 1. Just imagine a 0 there so that when you're actually blocking, 6 plus 3 is 9. 4 plus 0 is 4. And put it in. Okay, so if there's a 0 in a spot, there's another tricky one for you to try. If there's no 0, you can imagine that there's a 0 because it won't change the value of the number. 06 is still just 6. It's not the same as 60. Okay, so grade 1 and 2, please try practice number 1. Maybe wait 1 or 2 days, try practice number 2, and then you can take a picture and send your work to me at the end of the week. Grade 2s, I need you back after you've done both of these for another lesson, which I'm going to present next. And then you're going to learn about regrouping. Bye for now. Good luck.